If you're the generational curse breaker in your family system, you will often become the villain in a lot of people's stories. These family systems can only survive on compliance and silence.
This is how you can break a generational curse within your bloodline and free your descendants, free your family from ever having to experience the things that you are currently experiencing in your lifetime.
Here's one generational curse that I am breaking with my kids. You could be a grandmother, a grandfather, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin. It is not my responsibility to make my child have a relationship with you when you never come around to see them.
Welcome back, chosen ones. We're talking about generational curse breakers. Are you a generational curse breaker in your toxic bloodline? Because I know that I've been black sheep and outcasted, and nobody's seen it. It was very much hidden. So a lot of our scars, when we deal with covert narcissists and warlocks and witches, a lot of our scars are hidden, and people don't recognize that we don't look like what we've been through. There's something about a light inside of a chosen one. When you look at your resilience and how you keep getting back up when you're getting knocked down constantly since childhood, embarrassment rituals that you didn't even see, and you got 18 years in this, and you're not even aware of the sabotage since the womb. Those who were raised without a father or a mother, people just normalize it. That is extremely traumatizing to not have a 50% of your identity. People who do stints in prison, people just brush it off. They don't get the right treatment. And so these poisonous individuals live amongst society. The antisocial lives amongst society. Those who have been outcasted for the wrong reasons and those who've been outcasted for the good reasons, for following God. We all walk the earth. And so we all decide how, free will. What are you going to do? Like I keep reminding you, a lot of people do not want to be here. So how do they cope with having to wake up every day and not taking themselves out, unaliving themselves? Some people have that angel on their shoulder and that bad one. And so you chosen one, this is your time to really step back out of the brainwashing of social media and movies, the distractions of, the dating pool, and to listen to that quiet inner voice. We're talking about how you're impacted by being the generational curse breaker. Because there's a fire in you where you're letting everyone know you are no longer silent. You're no longer going to sweep it under the rug. You're a oppressor, you're a deucer. The person who put you through the most emotional turmoil. It's a spirit that you're battling. Okay? And so you got family who disown you when you go against the grain. People who try to speak out make you seem like you're just small. You're just running your mouth. You're not and no, you really are a developed individual. See, the generational thieves of the former day, the silent generation, Generation X, Generation X, those people want you to be quiet. Don't tell anybody. What happens in this house stays in this house. And I'm telling you, the millennials and Gen Zs, they're not hearing that mess. They got TikTok. If anybody offended anybody by inappropriately touching someone and thinking in the 90s you could get away with it, there's not a lot of technology and social media sharing. Oh, it's coming to light now. I know so many creepy uncles and mama's boyfriend stories, and seeing your photos and know where you grew up with these perpetrators, these alleged perpetrators. And I'm just little on me. And on the West Coast, how do I know your face? So yeah, be careful. What's being brought to the light here is gonna liberate you though. It's not always to just, oh, you're a bad person. Okay, I have a speck in my own eye. Nobody wants spotlights. But when it's you're the chosen one, you need to keep a receipt. Track everything that all these offenses and put them on Front Street so everyone can see what's happening. The pinching beneath the table. Why you don't come around. And you're gonna inspire generations older than you who were silenced. You're gonna inspire them to stand up. Game over. Anyways, we're gonna hear from social media about how to break generational curses. Listen, we're talking about these subjects, spiritual subjects, because you're a diamond and you need to forge through. Okay, life has a meaning and you need to tap into it. So we're here to help you tap into why you're placed here. And what you're gonna find is the people who are in church and shouting and hooting and hollering, they have this suit on. Those are the people who society deems as, so righteous and privileged. How come life can be easy for me to just walk straight and narrow, right? But what you're finding out is that there's a lot of lies underneath those suits. It's a lot of skeletons and bones in those people's closets. See, a lot of our abducers use religion to manipulate and control you. They also use religion to hide. There are people who are complete witches, admittedly warlocks, who consistently go to church and sit on the front row. You chosen ones have the authority to call it out. Why are you offended? Why are you wanting to unalive yourself? These are the people who are torturing us, telling us we're not good enough, we can't speak on these subjects. Oh, you can't do this and that. Listen, chosen, when you are so powerful, you can't seek help from a lot of people. You see through the people, you see through the help. You're not brainwashed. You see through the help. You see through the pastor that you go in and sitting down with cordially. You're spiritually in tune to what's going on around you. And they don't like that. That's supposed to be a spiritual gift. Oh, maybe you could be the next pastor. No, they don't like that. A lot of pastors, a lot of people who profess God's name and infiltrate the church, they're doing it to hide, to make it seem like they've done so much dirt, offended so many people, been Jezebels and Ahabs and did all kind of things. And now they're trying to clean their image. And they use religion to do it. So this is where we step in, chosen ones, where we have the audacity to challenge those, unfortunately, in the church. And it's time for a revolution. I don't want to get too long-winded. So we're going to start talking about how to break generational curses, being a chosen one.
This is how you can break a generational curse within your bloodline and free your descendants, free your family from ever having to experience the things that you are currently experiencing in your lifetime. Number one, unsweep all that mess out from underneath that rug, baby. No more family secrets, no more protecting the family, none of that stuff. Nuke your family if you have to, expose your abuser if you have to, do what you got to do, confront, have those uncomfortable conversations, confront the things that the people that came before you never ever wanted to talk about. You be the one to bring it up. You be the one to ruin Thanksgiving dinner. You. Number two, identify the patterns that are in your family. If the same thing keeps happening in your family, generation after generation after generation, the same thing happened to your grandmother, that happened to your mother, that's happening to you, you need to be the one to break that pattern. I'm talking patterns of abuse. I'm talking patterns of trauma. I'm talking patterns of divorce, patterns of poverty, literally anything that is present within your family. You have to identify it, realize it, so that you can break it and stop it. And I fully realize that so many of these things are fully out of our control, right? Such as disease or trauma or divorce or things of that nature. But what you need to do is you need to identify the pattern first, so that way you can then identify what is actually in your control to fix and break. And number 3 is the big one. It's also the hardest one. You need to do the work, baby. I'm talking do the work. Everybody always talking about do the work, do the work, do the work. Here's the fact of the matter. And the bottom line is that those who came before you, your parents, your grandparents, and etc., there are things within their lifetimes that they were not able to do for you. Okay? Because of that, there is a lot of slack that you need to pick up within your lifetime. And that is not to discredit those who came before you, because they have their own battles to face. They have their own sacrifices to make. But I need you to understand that it is up to you. You are here for the purpose of doing the work while you are here, baby. And I'm here to tell you right now, it is not going to be easy. The road is long. The road is tough. That's why the work didn't get done before. But I need you to know the work is rewarding.
And you know why a lot of the generation before us don't like to talk about stuff is because there was no reward for it. You know, social media didn't exist at the time. My point here though is when you recognize patterns in your family and numerology, people who share the same birth date as you, the person you're dating might have had the same birth date as like your parent who's a narc or whatever. Divorce dates, anniversaries. Notice how many siblings a person has that you're dating, particularly romantic relationships. If you came from a 3 sibling household, and the person who's courting you has 3 siblings, if there were 5 boys and 4 girls, and you have 5 boys in your family and 4 girls in your family. So recognize these patterns is very blatant for the chosen ones. It's very in your face a lot of the times. That's why we can be vocal about it. It's right smack in our face. The demons that come and play with us. You think the numerology and the astrology having things in common is a cue that you guys are meant to be. And in reality, you always got to be like, not this time, Satan. Like, hold on now. It looks too good to be true. In my family, the pattern that I see, and I'm seeing people who marry into my family, from the silent generation, so far removed from me and age group wise, there's a stagnation. Women who are hidden, and they're Christian, but they're always hidden. And so I always wanted to be hidden. And a lot of my life I'm hidden. When the pandemic happened, my life was just one big pandemic. I'm hidden a lot of the time. And I think this is something that I just recently picked up on. And I thought, like, God, hide me. I don't really want to be dealing with people and their prejudices and dealing with the crazy people in crowds. You're going to celebrate New Year's and some nutcase sets off something crazy and analyze a bunch of people. And I always just wanted to be hidden. And I'm like, you're useless at that point. And I want to have the audacity, chosen ones, have the audacity like Satan does. Have the audacity like his minions do. Like, if they ready to battle and take you out and you afraid of, you doing your job and somebody coming to like harm you, be ready to do harm to them too. Be in battle. Have your weaponry on the side. There's good people with weapons, there's bad people with weapons. Let's keep going on with this video.
the generational curse breaker in your family system, you will often become the villain in a lot of people's stories because these family systems can only survive on compliance and silence. And when you start to break out of that system, you start to reclaim your power, you start to reclaim your voice, and you start to speak against the things that are going on or just remove yourself from those systems, you're going to become the villain because it makes a lot of people uncomfortable and they have benefited off your silence and compliance. The childhood of a generational curse breaker is often riddled with codependence and people-pleasing, self-sacrificing, silencing, this version of you that develops to keep everybody else happy, to fit into a very small box that quote unquote makes you safe. And these systems work in childhood for you to survive. However, they suppress everything that you are. And in this spiritual awakening process, many people are starting to walk away from these dynamics, these family situations, and to really challenge these toxic systems that they were brought up in. Seeing a trend across the board with my clients and in my community space where people are really breaking free from these toxic dynamics that have kept them small, stuck, and silent, and have played into their lives in so many ways that they're just now realizing. And as you pull back from that system, as you no longer participate, you become the villain. You are the one who is challenging everybody, and you're also removing yourself as the resource that they've been feeding off of. You start to break free, those who benefited off of you the most are going to be the ones who have the strongest reaction, and you become the villain in their story. You're the problem, you're the crazy one. Everybody else is on board with this except for you.
And not just physically you being the one that they benefit off of, but your prototype, the docile daughter. You know, other people want to keep you in that box so that their daughters can be docile, so that they're not inspired by you. It's just like how they do Mariah Carey and Britney Spears and Dave Chappelle. They want to label all these people crazy. And so that's one aspect of it. And then the challenging, man, you will have people come out the woodworks who you wouldn't even think had you on their radar, and they're sneak dissing. They're saying things to you like on the low, jabs at you. People you thought that you would understand you the most and actually have your phone number are actually deciding to go behind your back because you and your baby mind, they weren't on your radar. You're dealing with one demon at a time. But when you deal with that one, it opens up Pandora's box, and now you see all the other witches and all the other illusions that were right there in your face, but you couldn't see it. You had to put on your different lenses, chosen ones, to actually see it. The challenges, it's almost scary, but it's confirmation that you are that person. That's why I'm saying your time is now. You may not have a pot to piss in, but you got social media. Tell your story, spread the word, and build your audience, because this audience is very few. Everyone cannot relate, and I don't care if it gets 10 views, because I don't put all my eggs in one basket. When I want the fluff and the quick thrills, I go on the other side of YouTube for that and social media. But this right here is intense, potent knowledge. Chosen ones sharing amongst each other. Let's finish what social media has to say on this.
But here's the thing, you're not the problem. You're the disruptor to the problem that already existed within that family system for generations and generations and generations. It's also what makes it so difficult is because you are quite literally going against patterns and behaviors in these toxic systems that have been at play for so long. And if they have benefited off of you, if they have fed off of you in any way, then you are quite literally a threat to them. And the only way they know how to handle that is to make you out to be the crazy one. Breaking free looks a little bit different for everybody depending on the system you're born into. So I'm seeing people who are leaving narcissistic situations or no longer tolerating them. I'm seeing people who are no longer self-sacrificing. They're stepping into their true authentic selves and going after those big visions and big dreams that they have. And I'm seeing a lot of people step into their visibility journey, overcoming the fear of being themselves and then being seen. So they're starting to build their businesses and create and share the thing that they're here to share. What you need to know is when this happens, it challenges everybody. And when you start shining your light, that is a direct reflection on those who are not shining their light and those who are choosing to remain powerless to these very systems. And when you do that, you will either become the villain in their story or you are going to become the one that they want to slyly pull back. And that starts with underhanded comments, that starts with sly little remarks, things that are going to make you question yourself. You need to know that you are not the problem and that breaking free is what you came here to do. And as you do this, you are so divinely supported in what it is that you are going to move forward towards and what you're breaking free from, but it will challenge every childhood wound. So remember, you are not the problem. You are the one who came to disrupt the problem.
Man, everyone always keeps asking me, why you don't have kids? You're 30 years old, you should have kids. You think I'm in a rush to have kids with someone I'm not going to be with? A lot of you people have kids just to, like a prop, like a little prop. I definitely don't want to have a kid that I'm not going to be with the person forever. And a lot of people love to talk about breaking cycles, breaking generational curses, right? My parents weren't together. They didn't raise me. So in return to that, it made me. So why would I do that to a kid? So when I get this question, it kind of bothers me because I'm like, damn, you got 3 baby fathers. Damn, you was with your nigga for 10 plus years, then it didn't work out. You wasted 11 years of your life. And now that baby got a question. Ask a kid. Ask a kid. I still remember when my dad broke up with my sister's mom. That shit affected me for years on end. And it wasn't even my mom. So when y'all ask people this question, be careful. Because the answer that I give, I'm very nice. But then I'm not judging people, but at the same time, it's like you're judging me. So I'm looking at you like, how's your situation better than mine?
Newsflash, buddy. Here's one generational curse that I am breaking with my kids. You could be a grandmother, a grandfather, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a godfather, a godmother. Doesn't matter. You name it. It is your job to make the effort to come see my child. Yep, it's your job. It is not my responsibility to make my child have a relationship with you when you never come around to see them. Why do I have to be the one to take my child to go see you? Why do I have to be the one to follow up with you to let you know how my child is doing? My children will see for themselves who comes around and who doesn't.
And it's almost like you have to make a bloodline sacrifice. Chosen ones, I have to break it to you. You have to make a sacrifice. You are not truly a chosen one if you don't make a bloodline sacrifice. And you're called to cut off that Judas in your family tree, because you cannot break a generational curse by seeking approval from a generation that's cursed. And that's the word on these chosen one streets, is that you're going to have to make a sacrifice by cutting off somebody that you love dearly and trusted your whole life and grew up with. Now, I trust the universe. I trust God's plan where I don't have to feel like, I don't have to say much. You already know who it is you have to cut off. Cain and Abel were the very first generation. They needed to go no contact. There's someone you need to go no contact with who's hindering your dream. The thorns and the thistles, the wheat and the terror. And I'm so confident that there is somebody that you need to cut off in your bloodline. Otherwise, you slip through the cracks. You're the rose that grew through the concrete. Because most of us chosen ones had to get it out the mud. Somebody was there hindering us at an early age, hindering with our self-esteem. There's a sacrifice you're going to have to make, chosen ones. Who is it? Who's it going to be? I don't want you going to pick a fight with somebody and being impressionable. If someone says they have a narc mom, don't just say, oh, you know what? I think my mom is narc too. I love when people can hear someone vent about their problems at home and then they still can acknowledge and respect what they have, even though it's totally different. They don't try to trauma bond. They just still say, hey, that's you. That ain't me. That's further confirmation for you. That's further confirmation for the chosen one. Not to be triggered, but to understand your walk in life is different. And so you're going to have to make some bloodline sacrifices. Because remember, the Bible in the Old Testament, Abraham had to make all these sacrifices. And God said, no more of that. No more of the animal sacrifices, no more blood sacrifices. What I'm saying is a bloodline sacrifice. So someone in your family tree who is toxic, who is your Cain and Abel.
And they will see it for themselves. I'm not hiding that from them. If my child ends up never knowing you, that's on you.
My other point was if I in the relationship and I never hear from you again, what kind of relationship is that? So you telling me that if I stop calling you right this minute, never call you again, that this relationship would fold? I don't care how old you are, if you my great grandpa, great grandma, unless you got a mental illness, you could call everyone else. Chosen ones see the writing on the wall. You see there's something hidden that's preventing you from getting that phone call. There's some animosity, there's some unwritten rule, and she's speaking on it. Why elders act like they can't call anybody younger than them? What's the deal with that?
Because this is not 1726. We even got FaceTime nowadays. You can FaceTime, did you know that? And another newsflash, the times that you do decide to come around, yeah, I'm not begging them to bow down to your existence out of respect because you are an elder in the family or you are older than them. No, I'm not doing that. I refuse to make them act like they've known you their entire lives when you just decided to come around. I will allow for them to create their own relationships and for them to flourish on their own. And to do that, you need to come around. You need to come around. And not because I'm like, hey, do you want to see my kids? Imagine me asking that. Hey, you've never met my kids. You want to come meet them? So yeah, do what you will with that information.
Well, you know, if you're the cycle breaker, that means you're the first one to cut the opening. Means you get more scars and get more damage. You make it easier for everybody else to just jump through. So if you are a cycle breaker, Joseph, you shouldn't be mad. Because God is going to position you to bless the ones that didn't even believe in you. And you're going to have to be okay with it. Somebody say, I'm okay with it. And notice when they came to see Joseph looked different, but they looked the same. He recognized them, but they didn't recognize him. Because favor will cause an abrupt developmental change in you. Somebody say, I am a cycle breaker. A cycle breaker refers to a person intentionally, somebody say intentionally, changing multi-generational family patterns. That means you are conquering, stepping over, devouring demons and demonic forces that you don't even know nothing about. That's why you need the Holy Ghost.
This should help some of the chosen ones out here. Make sure you big up this video so the algorithm can promote it. We're talking more about spiritual topics, so it's different than the usual. So make sure you bigging it up so the algorithm knows that you want more of this content. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but I appreciate those of you tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.